Okay, so tonight's homework is on understanding persuasive techniques. At the end of this tutorial, you'll understand some basic techniques, how they work, and the intended effect of those techniques, hopefully to help you write your opening and closing statement to be persuasive. All right, let's get started. Again, anytime you see the actual, hold on here, I gotta get my, there we go. Anytime you see the pencil, like this one in the corner, you're writing your notes down in your homework journal, and we will then grade that tomorrow. And please don't forget that your digital submissions are really important. A lot of you are doing the notes and then not submitting the digital portion, and we need to remember to do that. Okay, first of all, why do we need to know any of these techniques? Well, people try to persuade you to do things all day long. Your parents try to persuade you, your teachers, your peers, the media, and by media I mean the radio, any of your TV shows, anything on YouTube, anything on the internet. You're being persuaded constantly. And even you try to persuade the people around you. So this will hopefully help you to create a more persuasive speech. And I really want you to think about your topic and your audience and what techniques will work best for your team. So the first persuasive technique I want to talk about is the bandwagon. So basically how this works is a person says that everyone else is buying or doing this particular thing and for this reason. And basically this is intended to make the audience feel left out if they don't do what everyone else is doing. So if you want to create an argument for the bandwagon, I could see this working on like, for instance, the idea of school uniforms. Obviously, this isn't a topic that we're doing right now, but you could use the persuasive technique of bandwagon in saying that everybody hates uniforms. Why would you want to wear them? You would be the one person singled out if you actually like to wear them because everybody else feels like their creativity is being stifled, that sort of thing. Okay, moving on. Persuasive technique of humor. So basically, the person presents some sort of comic message that creates laughter in the audience. And this is supposed to make the audience associate good feelings with that particular message or idea. As we saw in the Ellen video, she used humor to make the audience be engaged. So it's a very persuasive technique. It makes you want to listen to whatever the person is saying. All right, individuality. So this is basically when people believe in themselves because they like that thing, then a person or idea will also like it. So this is intended to make the audience feel secure in following his or her own beliefs or the beliefs of someone else that is similar in style or idea as you are. So what I would do if I were you taking these notes, I would write down each of these specific persuasive techniques and then shorten down the how it works and the intended effect into small little bite-sized nuggets, okay? You don't have to write this individually word for word. Okay, the next pieces we're going to talk about are plain folks, comparison, and reward. So first one, plain folks. So this is the idea that good, simple, ordinary people like the idea of argument. So if you're a plain folk kind of a person, you're going to connect with this idea, and I'm going to persuade you because we're like-minded people. Okay, so comparison is where you're just comparing two different ideas, one versus the other, and this is just going to make the audience understand how one idea is better than the other or the same as the other. Comparison, it's either compare or contrast. And then finally, rewards. So this is where a person promises emotional, physical, financial benefits for agreeing to this idea or argument. And it's intended to make the audience want that reward or that idea too, because they're going to get some sort of gratification out of it. Okay, now we're going to talk about security and slogan, and if I'm not mistaken, I think we're kind of nearing the end here. So security is where you're going to provide the audience or whoever's listening to you with words and images that make them feel safer by agreeing with what you're doing. So you can either make the audience kind of fearful to side with the other side. So if you're doing an environmental impact topic. So obviously we have 3 of those going right now. So maybe you could use this idea of security, persuasive technique of security, to make the audience fearful for going the other route, which could potentially be very hurtful or harmful to the environment. I'm just using that as an example. Okay, and then finally the idea or the persuasive technique of a slogan, and I've been talking about this over the last couple of weeks, both in the examples of great speeches we've watched in class, as well as in some of our other homeworks. This idea of using some sort of catchy phrase that sticks in the audience's mind so that they remember you, remember your team, your debate team, and remember your argument. I think if any of you can use a slogan in some way, shape, or form, it'll be great. People will remember it. Oh, I was wrong. Okay, there's a few more, obviously. So testimonial is where you use like a famous person or a person of authority to show what you believe is correct. So this is like an expert argument too, one and the same. So the intended effect here, though, obviously, is to try and impress the audience and to show that someone important also agrees with what you're saying. But if you choose like an expert that isn't really famous, it's not really like a testimonial, because, you know, if you have to give background information on this expert and because the audience doesn't know who the heck they are, then that's not the same as like saying, what's a good example? Who's like a famous person right now that's like popular? I don't even know. But you know, if you choose like some sort of famous person, that everybody else in the room is going to be like, oh, awesome, I'm so glad that you told me that this person likes this idea, because now that I know that, I'm going to like it too. So again, if you're looking at like environmental impact pieces, maybe that's something you do. Maybe you search online for some famous actress and actors that are totally into protecting and saving the environment. That would be actually a really good idea. Okay, moving on. Okay, so the transfer or the emotional appeal is to make the audience feel emotional towards your audience. So this is something that obviously should be happening, as I've said over and over again in the closing argument, to make the audience have some sort of strong emotion to what you're saying and connect with you and vote for your team. It's really important to do this in the closing. Okay, now we're done. Sorry for my kind of side tangent there. You're probably laughing at me at home, but whatever. About the famous people in the testimonial, but maybe you'll remember it now that I was so wacky on it. Okay, so don't forget to do the digital submission for the summary and the hot question, and pack your notes in your bag for tomorrow because we'll grade it in class. Thanks, guys.